Hello and welcome to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. My name is Kyle Case, and I'll be your host on this amazing journey as we attempt to help you get the most out of your life. Today's guest, Janette Pink Johnson, has lived the active life since childhood. She's played in competitive volleyball and basketball in college. She earned her first degree black belt in Tae Kwon Do at age 62, and she competes in bowling across the nation against people from everywhere. Pink also enjoys pickleball as well as hiking. After a health setback several years ago with a dramatic increase in fatigue, Pink tried several homeopathic options to try to reclaim her energy, including hormone replacement therapy. She looked at acupuncture, both of which provided temporary relief. But she found that with proper nutrition, she was able to make the biggest impact in her battle with fatigue. Now, at 69, she's once again competing full time in volleyball tournaments and can't wait for her annual team reunion at the 2026 Huntsman World Senior Games. Pink, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Our pleasure. I want to jump right into the nickname. Where did Pink come from and who calls you that?
It came from my dear husband. He likes nicknames, and I met him playing volleyball. We used to play volleyball at our company that we both met at and worked for. And we used to play on these terrible park sand courts, and my feet were getting pretty cut up. So I started wearing these pink footy socks to protect my feet, and it just kind of stuck. He just started calling me Pink. And from that time on, that was my nickname. And Janette is a great name. I love the name. My dad gave it to me, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't tend to remember it as easily as the color. So in all of my sports activities, I go by Pink.
I think it's great. Jeanette is a great name. I think it's a strong name. There's a lot of character there, but it is fun. And we see this a lot of times in sports. Obviously, nicknames can really stick and go, carry with you throughout your entire life. And it's a fun way to connect with your husband, obviously, as well, which you also did through volleyball, which has been a huge part of your life throughout your entire life. You started playing volleyball in elementary school. You obviously, as I said, played in college. Talk a little bit to us about volleyball and why it's been such a staple in your life.
Um, I just love the sport. Um, I appreciate that at my current age, I can still play it. So I think it's a long-term sport. If you take care of yourself throughout your life, you can continue to play on into the 60s and 70s. I do compete against other women in their 70s and 80s. I practice with ladies that are in their 80s. So I just have a real passion for it. It's a very family-oriented environment, especially at Huntsman. When I come, it's like coming to a big family reunion or high school reunion because a lot of the ladies I see, I've played in tournaments across other states, but then also we meet a lot of new women from different countries. That's pretty exciting. So I love the sport. It keeps me motivated, and it's nice to brag a little bit to my kids and my grandkids that I can still play volleyball. So yeah, it's a good thing.
I agree with everything that you said there about volleyball. It's such an inclusive sport. The community and the culture of volleyball is amazing. You talked about family reunion, class reunion. We hear those words all the time from our athletes describing the games and also describing the sport that they love. And you talked about a lifetime sport, and there are a lot of sports that you can play well into your golden years. There's no question about it. Volleyball is definitely one of those. We have teams that have players that are in their 70s, 80s, even getting into their 90s, and it is a game that's inclusive, allows people to be a part of, and that, as you said, it becomes something that you identify with and even as to some degree as a volleyball player. And we just have the best community that comes every year to be a part of the Huntsman World Senior Games. And you're a part of that, and you get to experience that every year.
Yeah, it's great. I love going there. It's one of my favorite tournaments that I go to, so keep
Thank
it
you.
up. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. We plan to do that. We're glad that you have a great experience. We want all of our athletes to do that, obviously, and we do work hard at that. So I'm glad it's paying off for you. We've talked about volleyball. You mentioned how important that has been. You played that your whole life. I don't want to gloss over though this idea that you were a two-sport athlete in college. You played volleyball, uh, big love of your life, but you also played basketball. How did you juggle two sports, a social life, college requirements, courses, all that kind of stuff? How did that work out for you in college?
Um, it was a busy schedule. Anytime you involve yourself in sports and curriculum academically, you're busy. And because I loved both sports, I was dating a basketball coach at the time, so that kind of played into the basketball theme. And I was a point guard, and I just always loved playing it. Um, I like my knees at my age now, so I kind of backed off from playing basketball. I may shoot around at times now, but at the time I was quite busy, but I kind of thrived on it. I was one of those types of people that I went to school to play sports, not always actually involved in academics, but the sports kept me going. So it was fun. And again, the big team environment, meeting a lot of different really great people, and it just really gives you a great positive outlook on life and teaches you a lot of things about working with others, supporting others, and getting along with others even when you don't always agree with what's going on.
There are so many, many life lessons that we can learn through sport. I'll be the first to admit that sport is not the only place where you can learn these life lessons. There's a lot of ways to go about learning teamwork, learning patience, learning dedication, grit, hard work, determination. You can learn those in a lot of ways for sure. Sport is definitely one of them. You talked about a very busy schedule, juggling different things, trying to make sure that you made your practices, occasionally made your classes. Did that time period in your life of juggling all these responsibilities, do you think that those lessons carried on with you into later life?
Oh, definitely. I mean, as we mature into adulthood, you have to learn how to juggle, especially being I had a career in telecommunications for 34 years and did a lot of project management in that time frame, jumped around to a lot of different departments based on, corporate decisions that were made. So, learning to be flexible and learning to work with others and not being afraid to take on something that maybe you had no idea you were gonna be doing, um, all kind of played into, uh, information I got in playing sports and multitasking. I've tried to slow down a little bit, as I've aged into where I'm at now, but I am still super busy, taking care of family, grandkids, adult children. You think you can move away and not always be a parent with adult children, but, I'm still a parent and they ask
Still your
questions.
kids. They're still your kids, right? They're still your kids.
Right, and then also handling things, with aging parents and passing of aging parents and all of the stuff that they leave you behind that you need to take care of. So I think it was a great asset for me to learn that early in life, and I'm pretty good at still doing it, but I admit I do get a little bit more tired lately.
Understandable, but as you said, great place to learn some really important life skills. That's one of the beautiful things that I have found the more that I'm around sports, and I've spent most of my professional career around sports. There's so many great lessons. Not the only place to learn those lessons, but there's so many great lessons that you can derive from sports. We just talked about volleyball and talked about how it was such a big important part of your life, and it has been for much of your life. But you did take a little bit of a break. You stepped away for a decade and a half or so. Tell us what it felt like to come back to volleyball. Was it like coming home? Was it like you had to start from scratch? What was that experience?
Yeah, I stepped away after the last, birth of our youngest child. I kinda wanted to just be a mom and not have as much stuff going on and focus more on that and enjoy that. So, that's kinda why I took a little bit of a break, but, I was living in, Simi Valley, California at the time, and they have some in California, they have some great, places to go play volleyball, so I was able to dig those up after not playing for a while, and, we kinda had to try out for this one Monday night time frame, and, like they say, I was like riding a bike. I just got right back into it and the thrill of it and the exercise and the movement and just being with all these really great people. It was pretty natural and it was just so wonderful to be back into that mode again.
So it did feel a little bit like coming home.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I'm glad that you had that experience, and we're glad at the Huntsman World Senior Games that you've been able to continue the volleyball and that you're, as I said, part of our volleyball community and part of our family. You've been involved in just a wide variety of different things from being a mother, as you mentioned, you had a professional career, you went to college, you've had experience with all of these sports. We've talked about basketball, we've talked about volleyball, we'll probably get into a couple of other sports as well, but I wanna shift to the Tae Kwon Do. Tell us
Mhm.
how you got involved at 62 years old in being going through the testing process, to become a black belt in Taekwondo.
Yeah, that was probably a little bit of a different shift, but I highly recommend any type of martial arts, whether it's taekwondo or a lot of these other martial art venues that are available now. Our son, our youngest son, we had gotten him into that martial arts when he was about 10 or 12, and he really enjoyed it. And at the time, a lot of the younger parents were, taking their black belt along with their child, and our son, of course, wanted me to do that. Well, I was just slightly busy working full time and managing family and helping my parents and all of that, and I said, "You know, bud, I promise you I will get my black belt. Maybe not right now, but I promise you I will get it." So, actually, I was trying to support him, and he ended up getting his, 2nd dan black belt, which was pretty amazing at 18. So after that, so many years had passed, and at about 56 or 57 is when I started training for my black belt, and I told him, "I'm gonna get my black belt," and he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, mom." Little bit of doubt in his voice, but, he was very excited that I was gonna start. And so, a lot of stuff was still going on in my life. I was having to take care of my parents more. I was having to drive up to, Santa Barbara, about 70 miles north of me, every other week. But, the passion I had for doing martial arts and I was still playing volleyball competitively too, and my husband has just been a very supportive husband in allowing me to do all of this kind of crazy stuff, and supporting me through it. So that was a benefit that I really appreciate, him supporting me. So I started my journey and, taekwondo is an experience that's very different. You start out thinking it's a great workout, you're learning all these things, but for me, it was not always trying to be a good student, I wanted to be, but, I was working I was doing this with kids that were as little as 5 years old all the way up to teenage and some early 20s. There wasn't a lot of adults that were actually going along in my journey with me. There were some, they came in and out. So anyway, yeah, 7 years later, I finally got to the point where I was able to start testing for my black belt, and that was 6 to 8 weeks, sorry, of going in every single night and practicing for the test. And it was summers of running. I'm not a big runner, but I had to run a mile, and I improved my time by 4 minutes, which was pretty good for me at that point. And the grandmaster, the owner of the studio, was always just so generous with his time, and he was very excited because I was one of the oldest people in his studio that was gonna be getting the black belt, and he was very impressed, that I was doing this. So, I had a lot of support, and, yeah, the test was 2.5 hours. So I'm glad I had the, upfront practice for the 6 to 8 weeks to build up my aerobic capacities and things like that, but it was also just being there for the kids and showing them, "Hey, you know, grandma's here, but she can do this too," and hopefully being a little bit of an example for them to know that you can do stuff when you get older. You don't have to stop, um, working out or being active. And, for a lot of the parents, they were kind of impressed that grandma was there too. So, it ended up being a really great experience. I was pretty exhausted by the by the end, truth be told, but, I felt it was a really great accomplishment, and what was really neat was, my son was able to come and present my black uh, belt to me at the test. So, he was really excited, and it was just a great day of picture taking and celebration. And it is a long journey. Most black belts, it takes anywhere from 3 to 4 years if you do it right. But I wanted to take the time, and I had things where I was starting and stopping and didn't get as much activity time in that I needed. So, but the grandmaster at the studio, he was wonderful, and I I highly recommend it to anybody, child, adult, grandma, if they can do it. It's 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 great, and it's almost spiritual. You get a totally different aspect on what's important. Passion, pursuit, and perseverance is one of their mottos, and I believe that it carries through in a lot of sports.
Pink, first of all, promises made, promises kept. That
Yeah.
is really an example. You talked about being there and being present and allowing others to watch your journey as you were right there with them, but to have these little kids, these teenagers, and even their parents watching you go through everything that is required. And I'm not super familiar with Taekwondo, but I know enough to know that the test for black belt it's not a given. They don't just show up with a brand new black belt and hand it out to anybody. It's a significant physical demanding, like, heart-wrenching, experience from what I understand, and it sounds like, with your exhaustion level at the end that you went through it all. What a great example. Let me just say thank you for an incredible example. This is what we talk about a lot here at the games, in living the active life and trying to promote active aging. You're the perfect example of what that is. And I love how you just didn't let anything stand in your way. You made a promise, you decided you were going to do it. There were some ups and downs, bumps and bruises along the way, but you got it done. Tell me what it felt like in your heart to stand there with your son who maybe had a few doubts at the beginning but was
Yeah.
able to see the full circle of the journey. What did that feel like?
It was great. He was very supportive too. He's an excellent martial artist, and I don't think without him, giving me some private lessons on Poomsae and some sparring, that I actually would have done as well. It's challenging. I have 2 left feet even though I can play volleyball and basketball. It's just a totally different body, presence, and I was terrible at dancing, and, doing Poomsae is like dancing, and I was terrible at it, and, he teases me about my forms, but, it's all in good. But,
All in good fun, right?
all in good fun, but yeah, it was a very, uplifting, I was really happy, and I'm proud that I have that, and,
As
think
well you should be, as well you should be.
but, you try and be humble with it too. That's one thing
Well,
they teach you is humbleness, so, it's great.
yeah, and I like I said, I'm not very familiar, from a practitioner standpoint of the martial arts, but I've been around it enough to know that humility and strength are 2 very important factors. Pink, you've done a million things in your life. We've only scratched the surface. We didn't get into bowling. We didn't get into pickleball. There's a million other things that you've done. We've only got about, I don't know, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I do want to talk about this battle that you had with fatigue. This was a surprise to you. It kind of came out of the blue, and you struggled with it for a little while, but found a way out of it. Tell us how you found a way out of a really challenging time.
I try and be as natural in my medical care and things like that. I do go to doctors and check in with things, just due to my family history background of cancers and things. I am the last living child. All my brothers and sisters have passed. My parents have passed. So, my parents kind of directed me into the health world, and so I've usually worked with homeopathic or integrative fundamental doctors. So I finally found a kinesiologist in the town that I live in, and he has helped me tremendously in getting on a food program that has actually helped with the fatigue factor. And we determined it was some blood sugar and some adrenal fatigue that I went through just based on the last 15 or 20 years of my life of being a busy career mom, dad, sandwich generation, taking care of parent person, kinda just wore myself out. So, I've been on actually, it's my 4th year journey with the food program, and that has allowed me to, gain back, my strength to be playing sports like I love to play now. I still have my dips in it, and I am still seeing this, kinesiology person, without them, I don't think I would be where I'm at, and I'm very thankful. One of my volleyball sisters told me about this practice, and so her doctor referred me to the doctor I'm going to, and like they say, it's all history now, and I'm ecstatic that food can heal the body and get you back if you know what you need to be eating or not eating. So I'm all for that.
Well, as in so many other areas of your life, you've really been a great example, obviously, in that as well. And we talk so much about the importance of food and nutrition. And sometimes it's very easy to say and even easy to know, but it's not always easy to do. And
Yes.
to be able to kinda stick with that and be, diligent with that to your benefit is really a credit to you as well. We've only got about 30 seconds. You've been coming to the games for about 10 years. Really quickly, do you have a favorite experience, a favorite moment?
Just that my most favorite moment is spending time with my team, whether we get a medal or we don't get a medal. Just the week or 2 weeks that I have with them, it's awesome, and being there at the games with everybody else and just catching up, it's the best. So, I always come away with, high spirits and just a lot of really great memories.
Well, again, thank you so much for being a part of our games family and the volleyball community, and we wanna wish you the very best of luck in everything that you have going on, and we really look forward to seeing you here in October again.
I look forward to being there. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. Just to wrap us up with a couple of thoughts and ideas, we're at the beginning of another brand new year. For many of us, now is the time for us to set our New Year's resolutions. Why not include the Huntsman World Senior Games as part of your resolutions and work towards being a part of it, as Pink has been for the last number of years? Team registration for the games is already open, and many of our team slots are taken. If you're working with a team, get your name on the waiting list. We can't get you in the tournament if you're not on that waiting list. We want you to remember that individual registration opens on March 1st, and the games are going to run from October 5th through the 17th of 2026. So put that on your calendars, plan for it, work towards it. Next week, we're going to be joined by Jackie Hartline, who spent 17 years with the Calgary Police Service, rising to acting sergeant before an injury redirected her path. She went on to lead and coach women and girls in soccer for nearly a decade, and now serves as executive director of the Calgary Women's Soccer Association, a national match commissioner, and a member of Alberta's Soccer Technical Committee. If you like soccer or football, you're not going to want to miss that. Remember to tune in live next and every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time on AM 1450 or FM 93.1 for the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. We take this live show and turn it into a podcast, and you can find this show wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also find it on our website, as well as previous shows. That is seniorgames.net. Check that out. Today's inspirational thought. I like this one. The same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's what you're made of, not the circumstances. Until next Thursday, stay active.